don't know how he can criticize me or the sport because he doesn't know me. I've never met him. He doesn't come to watch the competition. He never goes to Mr. Olympia. Arnold does exactly what's good for Arnold.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, a famous golden-era bodybuilder, was respected for his balanced proportions and aesthetic physique, so it's no surprise his view on modern-day bodybuilding would be valued. Let's see what Arnold thinks of the way the bodybuilding world is developing. Arnold Schwarzenegger on modern bodybuilding. During the 80s and 90s, bodybuilding was about figuring out the most incredible physiques. Their perfect symmetry was embraced by the audience, as well as their bulky muscles. Without question, bodybuilders like Arnold Schwarzenegger had a positive impact on the bodybuilding fraternity. But according to Arnold, the modern era of bodybuilding lost its actual definition. During an earlier interview, the Austrian Oak elaborated on the issues of how modern bodybuilding progressed. Bodybuilding has long been surrounded by the battle to be recognized as a professional sport, but now things have changed. Social media platforms have leveled up to support amateur bodybuilders who couldn't become conventionally professional bodybuilders. Speaking on this matter, Arnie shared his beliefs in a refreshing interview. Back in the day, the thing that used to hold audiences' interest firmly was the bodybuilder's charisma. This is where Arnold comes into the picture. However, with the dawn of a new era filled with versatile fitness equipment, supplements, and social media platforms to grow, presumably, it's all about publicity now.
We have to find our sweet spot. I don't know exactly the answer, but I think that the sport should work diligently towards that goal.
There are countless modern rivalries we could talk about, but sometimes looking at past rivalries can be just as eye-opening. One bodybuilding rivalry in particular is both intriguing and curious all at once. If you didn't know it before now, former bodybuilding champions Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dorian Yates have had their own share of disagreements with each other. What makes it interesting is that the two men competed in different eras of bodybuilding. So how exactly did these two come to a disagreement? Well, the famous six-time Mr. Olympia winner called out Arnold for his blunt comment regarding new age iron pumpers. Once during an interview, Yates showed gratitude towards Arnie for taking bodybuilding to the next level. In addition, he pointed out Schwarzenegger's impolite opinion about him and bodybuilding. Yates recalled a feud with Arnold without meeting him in the first place. According to him, Arnold had framed various statements where he criticized the modern ways of bodybuilding. Moreover, Dorian said, "Never Arnold does exactly what's good for Arnold." Dorian's statements were followed by the 1980s Olympia controversy, where Arnold made a last-minute decision to join the competition. The popularity and opinions of Arnold have made him face several backlashes from fans. However, no one could ever defeat the GOAT of bodybuilding physically or verbally.
He felt that he had to attack modern bodybuilding, and myself as the leader of modern bodybuilding in the mid-90s through the magazines, he shot himself in the foot because he was criticizing myself and the sport and everything. And I just replied like, I don't know how he can criticize me or the sport because he doesn't know me. I've never met him. He doesn't come to watch the competition. He never goes to Mr. Olympia. Arnold does exactly what's good for Arnold.
Arnold's modern-day routine. 6 decades after Arnold Schwarzenegger first started bodybuilding, he still works out every day, he told Insider. The bodybuilding legend, actor, and former politician who turned 75 on July 30 work out for up to 1.5 hours daily, cycling for 45 to 60 minutes, and lifting weights for 30 minutes. Working out is as much a part of his daily routine as eating and sleeping, and always has been. He said, "Now I work out to maintain as much as I can as I get older." Schwarzenegger began lifting weights as a teenager in his native Austria, and in 1970, at the age of 23, became the youngest ever winner of Mr. Olympia, considered to be the most prestigious bodybuilding competition in his first contest. Schwarzenegger went on to win 6 more times between 1970 and 1980. Even though Schwarzenegger is still very active by most people's standards, his current regime isn't a patch on how the former Mr. Olympia used to train. As a competitive bodybuilder, he would lift weights for 5 hours a day, he said. Over the years, this amount of time gradually decreased, he said, and Schwarzenegger has adapted his training depending on his goal or acting role. For his role in the 1976 comedy Stay Hungry, for example, Schwarzenegger was asked by the director to lose 30 pounds. Schwarzenegger likens fitness to a game of chess in that there are so many different moves you can make. Whether you want to change your physique or have a performance or health goal, these can be achieved with the right training and nutrition. Schwarzenegger co-founded the sports supplement company Ladder with 4-time NBA champion LeBron James in 2018. Arnold thinks bodybuilding is dangerous. When the mass monsters began to dominate the open class, Schwarzenegger issued a stern warning. He said that athletes were taking it too far and that the sport would destroy them if they continued in the same vein. The 7-time Mr. Olympia and bodybuilding legend are concerned about the health of today's open-class bodybuilders. Fans around the world flock to see the biggest and freakiest athletes compete on stage. However, Arnold Schwarzenegger believes competitors are putting their lives at risk by focusing too much on adding size instead of maintaining good health. Schwarzenegger expressed concern over the current state of bodybuilding, citing the passings of fellow bodybuilders Cedric McMillan and Jerry Ward. The sport has undergone significant changes in recent years, with athletes taking things too far, according to Schwarzenegger. He said in an interview via Zoom, "Bodybuilding is the most dangerous sport in the world." Schwarzenegger spoke of his concerns about modern-day bodybuilding. He reckons the sport has become extreme and bodybuilders should not take excessive amounts of drugs to increase their size. Last year, he went so far as to say that bodybuilding is the most dangerous sport in the world. In the world of sports, there are numerous instances of dangerous and sometimes fatal injuries. Competitive bodybuilding is no exception. In recent years, the push for bodybuilders to stop adding size has become prevalent. Joe Rogan, a popular podcast host with a focus on mixed martial arts, agrees that golden-era bodybuilders like Schwarzenegger look better than today's athletes. With more and more aspiring bodybuilders diving into the sport, it begs the question of whether Schwarzenegger is correct in his notion that the sport is becoming too dangerous. Samir Bannout, 3-time Mr. Olympia and former training partner of Schwarzenegger, recently said that athletes are taking too many steroids these days. After Chris Bumstead revealed that he cycles only twice a year and still dominates contests, Bannout said that Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best only used 2 compounds. In Schwarzenegger's later years, the decorated Olympia champ said that he worked out 1.5 hours daily. Bodybuilding is a sport unlike any other, as it combines intense strength training, cardiovascular conditioning, flexibility, and endurance. Schwarzenegger embodies the very essence of the word. He has enjoyed a successful career as an actor, businessman, and politician after his bodybuilding days. Bodybuilding is to be enjoyed by everyone, but only in moderation. If you are looking for an easy way to get in shape or become more athletic, there's no better sport than bodybuilding. It makes all other sports easier and improves your level of fitness. Bodybuilding is fun but becomes dangerous if done incorrectly.
Such great performance when it comes to posing, and also, let's not forget, they don't have to take all of this stuff.
Arnold's comments on modern-day steroid usage. It's no secret that steroids have become increasingly common in the world of elite sports. From baseball players to mixed martial artists and Olympians, there have been countless cases of athletes using steroids to gain an edge in the competition. Bodybuilding, as the general public loves to point out, is no exception. 7-time Mr. Olympia Arnold Schwarzenegger discussed the use of performance-enhancing drugs in modern bodybuilding at a seminar. Part of the problem, he says, is that these days the amateur competitors look like the professionals of his era. And while he admitted that the sport's progress over the years has been extraordinary, he expressed concern about the drug use some athletes feel pressured to supplement with. It's difficult to get statistics on steroid abuse because it's not something that most national surveys track, but the majority of people who go overboard with anabolic steroids are men in their 20s and 30s who lift, according to the National Institute on Drug Abuse. Whether taken orally, injected into muscles, or used in gel or cream form, steroids to enhance performance are generally taken in doses 10 to 100 times higher than a doctor would prescribe to treat medical conditions. People often see abusing steroids as the easy way to get bigger, but that's not the case according to the Austrian Oak. The legendary bodybuilder added that getting drugs out of sports is no easy task, but that it's for the benefit of athletes' health. He said that there was random drug testing by the World Anti-Doping Agency at the Arnold Classic Africa, but another issue he brought up is that many of the people who are doing steroids for bodybuilding purposes don't even compete.
Well, there's, like in every sport improves and just keeps going up and up and up. I mean, those guys were really extraordinary, and they were so well balanced. I mean, I looked at each one, at the 6 guys that were on stage, the finalists. Everything was really well developed. So that's kind of like very unusual that if they take drugs, then that would enhance their performance. If you think that they take 2 pills, that they will help you, and then they go and overdose.
Schwarzenegger, now 71, isn't kidding about the destruction part. Steroids may help your muscles grow, but there can be serious side effects like aggression, low sex drive, heart issues, kidney issues, and the list goes on. That's all for today's video. See you next time.